Your beauty is that of gentle winter, my dearest, by Osius Stuff, a Batman all-media types fanfic, rated for teen and up audiences, with additional tags for Bruce Wayne-centric, Stephanie Brown-centric-ish, soft Bruce Wayne, soft parent Bruce Wayne, good parent Bruce Wayne, good parent Alfred Pennyworth, emotional hurt/comfort, slut-shaming, others to Bruce but it's mild, protective Bat Family, protective Stephanie Brown, protective Jason Todd, shy Bruce Wayne acts like a sad wet cat, Batman played by Robert Pattinson, Bat Family, domestic Bat Family, pretty Bruce Wayne needs a hug, autistic Bruce Wayne, Bat Family feels, soft Bat Family, my first Batman fic, hurt Bruce Wayne, well, emotionally. Canon is taking which parts I like and making a Lego building. Self-indulgent, like seriously, this is just almost 5k of me going, damn, Bruce Wayne is so pretty. Jason Todd and Bruce Wayne have a good relationship. No beta, we die like every character in this fandom. Summary. She remembers Bruce's face, haunted and resigned, with steel in his eyes, a flicker of Batman in the mild posture of Bruce Wayne, and how Stephanie wanted to give those old bags the verbal beatdown of a lifetime. But Bruce put a hand on her back and steered them away from the crowd. It's not worth it, he said. He barreled on when he saw Stephanie open her mouth, a retort already snapping at the tip of her tongue. I'm used to it. I don't want them to drag you into this. As if they already don't, Bruce Wayne and all of his charity cases. You're so pretty, you know? She suddenly starts. Bruce slowly blinks, the way he does at the rare instance that something is confusing him, and his brain can't catch up fast enough to come up with a solution. Come on, Jason, back me up here. Jason sighs. You're so fucking pretty it makes me want to vomit. He turns away, hiding his face behind his hands, but she can still spot the hint of redness on the tips of his ears. Or, an asshole slut shames Bruce Wayne at a gala, earning Stephanie's ire. The old man won't do anything about it, but Stephanie will. She'll enhance his beauty, make him beautiful, unattainably. A true prince. Chapter 1. Dedicated to you. Bruce, boss man, B. Stephanie starts, voice stern and unyielding, just like how the Bat himself taught her. She hates doing this while Bruce is so clearly uncomfortable, shifting around on his feet and picking at his nails. But they'll be here until tomorrow if he won't stop moving. Stephanie needs to get this right. I love you, I really do. And she does. They both worked so hard to get to this stage, where it doesn't take a near-death experience for them to admit that they give a shit about each other. But if you move one more time, I am going to lose it. From her back, Jason, who is busy shifting through various luxurious fabrics that could buy a few apartment buildings in Gotham, snorts. Bruce stiffens as straight as a board before hunching over, letting those unruly bangs of his fall over his face. Sorry, Stephanie. He apologizes, unintentionally batting those pretty eyelashes at her, completing his patent accidental sopping wet cat look. That screams, forgive me, protect me. Undoubtedly, she is charmed. She's as weak as half of Gotham, softly patting him on the arm before going back to her measuring tape. Bruce is now as still as those gargoyles he likes to imitate during his long, boring stakeouts. He's always a little silly, either disobeying orders just to be contrary, or following them to a T. It's making her job of taking his measurements a breeze, though, so she doesn't complain. He has grown these past few months, but never would he outbulk Jason, though she knows Alfred will appreciate it, since he's always said that Bruce was a little twig back then. Dick unironically describes him as a twink, and she shudders from the goosebumps. She does not want to associate her father, figure/mentor with that word. Jason shoves a pile of fabrics across the room to a dark corner. From the corner of her eye, she sees the color and types of fabric materials thrown to the side and approves. Jason has always had good taste in fashion, and a keen intuition to what fabrics would set Bruce off. He rises from the floor languidly, with hands shoved in his pockets. You can breathe. Relax, man," he says with an amused drawl. Bruce inhales as Stephanie snickers. Her giggles intensify at Bruce's sullen pout. She calls Jason to help hold the tape at B's head as she measures his height and focuses. Her stance becomes rigid as she goes over the measurements again, occasionally adding and erasing details from her sketch of the man in her sketchbook. Bruce starts shifting again, doing little hops in his place, and Stephanie grips his hand tightly, burying her fingernails into his skin as she hisses, "Stop that!" She can't have any errors. The outfit has to be perfect. Bruce is still looking at her with those ever unyielding eyes of his, and a softness that reflects the gentleness of the pitter-patter of the rain gracing Gotham. He never flinches, standing firm in the face of anything, even as her fingers dig deeper. Jason, however, growls like the beaten war dog he is, always the first to drag Bruce's name down through the dirt, yet always the first to come to his defense. "Back off, Blondie," he snarls, stomping over to viciously pull her arm away from Bruce. They glare at each other, baring their teeth like the broken feral kids they are, before a gentle tap of fingers against their biceps calmed them both. Steph and Jason still narrow their eyes at each other, even as Bruce's timid affection settles over them in waves, brushing against the shore. "Jason," he says, and Jason backs off, letting go of her arm, grumbling. He turns to her, letting his hands hover over her arms, until she gives him a reluctant nod, before finally settling them on her. Bruce pats her arm tenderly. "You are tense," he says, as blunt as ever. She huffs. "No shit. What's on your mind? You're not usually like this." He trails off, his brows furrowed, as he searches for the right words. Alfred's words echo in her mind. "There was a time when the manor was silent, and the only reason I knew he was alive was that I could still hear him breathe. Invested in my fashion choices." "If you could call it that," Stephanie quips. Jason stops glaring at the corner, and watches her with a thinly veiled concern. And very thinly veiled, because worried Jason looks almost the same as "I will rip your intestines apart" Jason. Stephanie hated it because it wasn't that big of a deal. It was that big of a deal because how dare they? Bruce is not fucking dirty. She kicks the imaginary dust off the floor petulantly. "It's fucking stupid." Bruce shakes his head. "Language." "It's frickin' stupid," she amends, and Bruce quirks his lips into one of those amused half-smiles he does. She headbutts his chest, resting her forehead against his sternum, comforted by the steady, slow rise of his breath. She could understand what Superman was getting at. "Is this because of what those people said at the gala we went to together?" he asked. And really, there is no point in hiding anything from him. "The things they said about you. You know I don't care about that." "Wait," Jason interjects, with a green sheen to his deep blue eyes, where the sunlight hits. "You told me nothing big happened." Bruce turns to look at him. His pale blue eyes, the color of the first snowfall, all gentle and kind. And nothing happened. You know how people are, J-Lad. They were just talking. Stephanie stomps her feet on the ground, something desperate and angry clawing out of her chest. She rips herself away from Bruce, pointing a finger at him and growling. How can you say that? Those smelly old rich guys called you a common whore that could spread his legs for anyone. Steph, no! You're such a fucking martyr, Bruce. There is lava inside her now, bubbling with rage as she remembers the audacity of the people when they laughed as Bruce made eye contact with them. Like they were staring at a silly joke, and not degrading a man who bled, cried, and destroyed himself for Gotham. Who does more good than they could ever hope to achieve. She remembers Bruce's face, haunted and resigned, with steel in his eyes. A flicker of Batman in the mild posture of Bruce Wayne. And now Stephanie wanted to give those old bags the verbal beatdown of a lifetime, but Bruce put a hand on her back and steered them away from the crowd. It's not worth it, he said. He barreled on when he saw Stephanie open her mouth, a retort already snapping at the tip of her tongue. I'm used to it. I don't want them to drag you into this. As if they already don't. Bruce Wayne in all his charity cases. You're so pretty, you know, she suddenly starts. Bruce slowly blinks, the way he does on the rare instance that something is confusing to him, and his brain can't catch up fast enough for him to come up with a solution. Come on, Jason, back me up here. Jason sighs. You're so fucking pretty it makes me want to vomit. He turns away, hiding his face behind his hands, but she can still spot the hint of redness on the tip of his ears. Steph. J-Lad. I'm in my late 30s. She pats him on the back gently. Of course, since Bane broke him in half like a glow stick once upon a time ago. Chill out, B. You can be both a silver fox and a baby girl single mother of 8. She giggles at the disgusted face he pulls, and laughs maniacally while Bruce deadpans. Barbara has a father. Jason scoffs. That's why she said a single mother, Bruce. Steph claps. We're getting sidetracked. Anyway, Bruce, you're pretty. The prettiest man in all of Gotham. Maybe the whole universe, even, since you keep getting kidnapped by aliens who want to marry you. The man grimaces at the reminder. She grabs her sketchbook and shoves it in Bruce's face. The whole world knows you as the Prince of Gotham, so we're going to prove them right. So right, in fact, that they'll be on their goddamn knees. Bruce's eyes grow wide, and he gingerly takes the sketchbook from Stephanie. This is supposed to be me. Jason whistles behind Bruce, laying a chin on his father's shoulder. Bruce stiffens at the contact. They don't mention it, and try not to take it to heart. It's hard, after all, when almost all the touches you receive daily are beatings. It's also hard to reconcile with the fact that the son you let be violently murdered is still willing to show affection to you in gentle ways. This is gonna be you. The Wayne Charity Gala is coming up for your birthday, and Elfie has given me the green light to design your outfit. You'll be an actual prince. A king, even. Like the childish man he is, Bruce frowns, pouts, at the reminder of the gala. I don't want to go. He almost whines. A hint of fragile Brucey in his voice. She claps Bruce on the shoulder, dragging Jason into a headlock for a hug. Chillax! All of your 8 million kids are going to be there, so you just got lucky. We're gonna suffer with you, big man. Unfortunately, Jason drawls, always needing to get the last word. Bruce pulls both of them into a more solid hug. Everyone? He whispers. Everyone. They both respond in tandem. And Bruce's mouth slips into one of his rare smiles, all soft and gooey where his dull, dead eyes go bright for just a moment. Something settles in her stomach, calming content. I promise, B. And if she emphasizes the B a little harder, maybe the meaning will just be as powerful as Dad. I'll make you a masterpiece. Of course you will, he agrees readily. I trust you. And fuck, isn't that something? Even with his super hearing out of focus, the clicks and flashes of the cameras and the excited murmuring of the crowd gathering around are enough to give Mark a mild headache at best. Lois, beside him, is within her element, back arched and eyes wide and hungry for the next big scoop. This next one, regardless of which publication company posts the story, will be an instant hit. The Wayne family, America's own royal family, with all its members, honorary and not, all in place attending the biggest, well-known galas in the world. The enthusiasm is infectious, and Clark can feel himself buzzing in place. Lois knows he has some insider knowledge, and has been hounding him for information these past months. But Clark knows better than to spill the secrets of the Bat family. If the word comes out that he spoiled the big surprise, he'll have 8 righteous bats and birds at his doorstep, engaging in an all-out prank war. "Boss man!" Spoiler yelled as she came crashing down from the vents into Batman's waiting arms. The bats and birds had always had an uncanny ability to disappear and reappear whenever and wherever they pleased. Even through all the focused exposure, some of the League members couldn't hide their flinch and surprise at Spoiler's sudden appearance. Judging by Batman's deadpanned, disappointed expression, it seemed that they are due at least 1 hour of the famous Bat Lecture. Batman lowered the wayward vigilante gently onto the ground, huffing as she gave him a clap on his shoulder for his efforts. "Spoiler." His gruff voice somehow softened, as it always does when he speaks to his children. And Clark can't stop the pitter-patter of his heart from the gentleness of it as he imagines what it's like to have that voice whispered in his ear within the comfort of a well-loved blanket, accompanied by the lullabies of crickets in the night. From the slight nudge from Diana, and the amusement radiating from Jean within his mind, he was obvious. At least the more observant fellows of their team. "Batman," the girl croons. He sighs, pinching the bridge of his nose in frustration. "We are in a meeting." Spoiler gave him a look, scanning the tired eyes of the Justice League members and smirking. "You mean you were forcing them to sit through your long, boring PowerPoint lectures?" "At least someone gets it," he heard a disgruntled Green Lantern mutter. Superman hid a snicker from behind his palm, when Hal yelped as Spoiler threw a well-aimed batarang that whizzed past dangerously close to his head, burying itself deeply into the watchtower walls. "Watch it, Greenie. Insulting the big bat is a privilege. The that you don't have went loudly unsaid, but was easily understood. Spoiler, I hope you didn't come here just to cause a scene with all of your siblings." She crossed her arms. "Pseudo-siblings," Spoiler insisted. At Batman's raised eyebrow, she added, "I dated Tim. Do you want there to be incest in this family, B?" "Code names," Batman says, in the tired tone of someone who had repeated the same words with no hope of it going anywhere. Flash vibrated out of his chair. "Wait, the rest of you are here?" As if Flash had uttered the magic words, the rest of the Batman's children appeared from all angles of the meeting room, scaring everyone, as usual. Barbara isn't there, but Clark has no doubts that Oracle is watching. Wonder Woman, as always, was pleased, waving her hands at the shy Red Hood. "Children! It is wondrous to see all of you." They moved like fluid, greeting the Justice League members and ruffling Shazam's hair before settling in a half-circle around Batman. He looked at ease, surrounded by all his deadly children. Is there a special occasion I'm missing? Spoiler pulled down her mask, a bright smile plastered on her face, becoming Stephanie Brown. There was a wild glint in her eyes, happy and wild. We found it, Bee. The missing piece. Huh? The rest of the family had taken off their dominoes, masks, and hood. The League swiftly followed suit, shedding their identities out of respect and feeling something shift in the air. Clark himself had taken out his glasses. Dick had reappeared, though nobody had seen him disappear in the first place, wheeling Barbara Gordon into the room. Little T has a surprise for you, Bee, he said, moving to place a hand on Damien's back, gently pushing him forward as the rest parted to let their baby brother walk to Batman. Damien, for one, is uncharacteristically hesitant, shuffling slowly toward his father while wringing his hands hidden under his cape. Finally, Batman pulled off his cowl, shedding the hard exterior of the Dark Knight, and morphed into the soft-hearted Bruce Wayne. It's amazing how much his demeanor changed. His head, usually held straight, tall, and proud, now lowered, gaze trailing towards the ground, while his shoulders slightly hunched, completing the meek, soft cat look of Brucey. He kneeled, meeting Damien's gaze. The reporter and Clark can't help but preen. The only eye contact that Brucey Wayne would make is with his children. Damien, what do you have for me? He pressed gently. Bruce's youngest took a deep breath before pulling out a intricately patterned velvet box from his cape. For you, Baba, he whispered earnestly, making Bruce draw in a sharp breath. His eyes glistened with gratitude and surprise at the simple fact that he is loved. Bruce took the box from his son reverently, caressing it before carefully opening it. Some of the Justice League members shuffled closer to see, but a single, unsettling glance from Black Bat made them stay put. Bruce's breath hitched, and his mouth thinned, becoming a bit wobbly. Clark rose from his seat, very much alarmed. This is... Bruce whispered, and Clark can hear his heart thumping wildly inside of his chest, as if grieving. After Clark had accidentally confessed that he listens to Bruce's heartbeat daily for comfort, Bruce had informed him with averted eyes that he had made an opening in his lead and Kevlar weave suit to let Clark in on his heartbeat, only if he promised that this wouldn't distract him in battle. Damien moved forward, wrapping his small arms around Bruce's neck and pulling him closer so he could rub his head gently against his father, like a particularly affectionate cat. Bruce's hands were trembling, yet even in his son's protective hold, he held his gaze steadfast on the box's contents. Is that where you've been going these past few weeks, sweetheart? Damien nods in the hug. Bruce shudders. How did you even find these? The little boy pulled away from the hug, gesturing towards his older siblings. We all played a part. After witnessing Brown pull her hair out trying to figure out what's missing, I concluded that you needed something beautiful and personal. Gordon and Drake traced the general location of where grandmother's pearls had fallen, and we searched and searched. Though I'm not very happy at still being vertically challenged, my small stature became useful as I needed to crawl into tight spaces to procure the coveted pearls. Damien fiddled with his fingers, biting his lips. I'm sorry we could only find 2. No. Bruce shook his head, wrapping his large arms around his son. I never thought... Just thank you, all of you. Though most of Bruce's brood was adopted, it was clear that they picked up on his habit of not being able to accept genuine compliments. All of his children shifted and shuffled in place, trying to stave off the embarrassment. Jason had his ears covered with his hands. Where? Cassandra piped in, suddenly emerging from Bruce's side amongst the shadows, scaring all of her family. Bruce rose from the floor, cheeks flushed with a healthy red, as he gingerly attached the pearl earrings to each of his ears, with the most sincere of grins Clark has ever seen him wear. He looked younger, with the sweet, sweet smile, more alive. Like Damien did. Bruce fiddled with his fingers, shy and under the intense silence of all their gawking. He tucked a stray lock of hair behind his ears, fluttering those pretty eyelashes of his. Clark gulped, swallowing his drool, and Diana's prodding. "How do I look?" he mumbled. "Absolutely beautiful." The pearls shimmered under the light in the room, seemingly to have a blue sheen on them in the right direction. Those pearls looked like they cost more than the Kent farm, and more, and they fit beautifully with Bruce. Bruce Wayne had always had both a masculine and feminine appeal to him, and the earrings only exacerbated that. He distinctly heard both Barry and Hal mutter under their breaths in shock. Arthur, however, seemed more keen on the pearls. All of them must have spent too long staring at him in awe because Bruce's smile dropped, and he shifted, becoming increasingly uncomfortable. Snapping from their trance, his children began crowding him, showering him in praises and pulling him into a group hug. "Baba, you're gorgeous. If those plebeians can't see it, then they must have their eyes removed for their deficiencies." Duke hummed, smiling contentedly as Bruce lowered his head, brushing his hair aside to allow his foster son to inspect his ears closer. And no, Clark was not jealous. "You have the prettiest ears, Bee," he glowed. In a rare show of affection, Tim tugged on Bruce's cape to get his attention. "Bruce, with Steph's outfit and Grandma Martha's pearls, you will be the best-looking one at the gala." Barbara wheeled herself closer to him as Bruce lowered his body closer to her. She looked at him with such fond eyes, patting his cheeks affectionately. "Knock 'em dead," she said with pride. "As he rightfully should. We'll show those asswipes," Stephanie huffed. All of them cheer, and Clark's heart hurts just at seeing them all happy and united. "Wait," Oliver exclaimed. "This is for the charity gala." All of Bruce's children swivel their heads in sync, once again scaring the shit out of all of them. They wear matching expressions of, well, duh, that made the JL feel dumb. The children all suddenly scatter, somehow all dropping a sealed envelope in each of their hands. "Come on, Dad. We need to show Alfie," he heard Dick shout amidst the chaos, crashing into his father in a bear hug. In a blink of an eye, they all disappeared in a puff of smoke. Holy cow. Barry tore open the envelope, reading the letter inside before freaking out. "Wait, I don't have anything nice enough to wear for this kind of event." The contents of the meeting were left forgotten as the room filled with excited chatter of the remaining League members. Stephanie had mentioned a custom outfit. Clark breathed, patting the symbol of hope on his chest, trying to steady his beating heart. He couldn't wait to see Bruce. Speaking of Bruce, a long, sleek black limousine arrives, parking in front of the laid-out red carpet. The crowd around them goes wild as Clark drags Lois further to the front, shielding her with his body to protect her from the people surrounding them, pushing others to get a front row seat. Alfred exits from the front seat, his suit looking extra fancy today, decorated with shimmering gold trims and extra ruffles. A long, sleek cape rests on his shoulders, black with a blood-red lining on the inside. The Wayne family crest is pinned to his shoulder. Clark blinks. That outfit reminds them of those royal fantasies. Manoir? Comics. Of those online comics John has recently enjoyed reading. He strides elegantly to the back door, bowing theatrically to the crowd before slowly opening the door. Clark has been holding his breath since the limousine appeared, excited with jitters. Lois pokes his side with her elbow, snickering. So Clark took in a deep breath, pretending to breathe once more. Instead of the usual chaos, all of the children, sans Barbara, step out of the vehicle with a surprising amount of grace. All decked out in royal-esque fashion, with extra soft ruffles, jewelry, and pearls. All of them held their chin up high, basking in the glory of sharp white flashes and crazed screams, bearing the weapons of perfectly curated smiles and disdainful frowns, just as effectively as scarred fists in the dead of night. Stephanie put her hands on her hips as she suddenly yelled, all of the grace she displayed gone without a trace. "Hey, Gotham! Do you want to see your prince?" The crowd's screams could rival that of Black Canaries. Lois turns to look at him with a downright annoying smirk. "Your boyfriend's coming up, Smallville." Clark looks down at her, aghast. "Lois, not so loud," he whispers. "Relax, Clark." Lois readies her camera, aiming it at the limousine door. People won't be surprised if they heard. Everyone wants to get in his pants. "Even you?" He frowns. She snickers, shrugging her shoulders. "He's cute. I can see what Selena was talking about. But don't worry." The movement comes from inside the limousine, as an anticipated figure slips outside with the grace of an expensive cat. Clark's world quiets, eyes focused on the man in the center of the world's attention. Distantly, he hears Lois laugh. The sunny kind, with amusement rolling off in waves. There is a loud click of the camera. "He's yours." Lois takes his arm and pulls him up to the front, switching their places as Clark yelps. And even so, he's entranced. Bruce's hair is styled back, reminiscent of old aristocrats, with a long, lonely curl in the front of his head, brushing the tips of his pretty eyelashes. Stephanie has dressed him in a fine white blouse, with elegant bishop sleeves, decorated with ruffles at the top near his shoulders, and at the end where his hands are buried within them. There's an intricately beautiful pattern of black, blue, and gold stitched to the front, as more jewels and small beads adorn the lining. The lower part of the blouse is hidden behind a corset, and oh, Ro, that corset! For as bulky as Bruce has grown over the years. And he had trained endlessly when he found out at the first official Justice League meeting that he was built more slender than the rest of the members. Yes, even Diana. He has never been able to disguise the fact that Bruce Wayne was born with a tiny waist, small enough that Clark's whole hand is enough to encompass it. The corset is embellished with delicately figured dragons, and it hugs his waist so sinfully. Clark gulps, turning redder as he makes eye contact with Stephanie, who wiggles her eyebrows at him. The fiend. Jason flanks Bruce's right, always the bodyguard, and lets Bruce slip an arm into his. Cass and Stephanie move to his left as Damien guards his front, trudging like a soldier. Bruce smiles demurely as he lowers his head, letting the girls fuss over him, and tucks a stray hair behind his ears. The crowd screams in excitement and awe at the glimmer of Bruce's pearl earrings. They move forward gracefully, as Bruce Wayne is surrounded by his children, protected from all sides. There is a long, layered cape attached to his back, and it flows, following Bruce like ripples on the water. Bruce flutters his eyes, which are lined with sharp-winged eyeliner and gentle eyeshadow. His boots are high-heeled, and he walks in them with ease. Bruce Wayne is meek and beautiful. He keeps his head lowered, raising it only to let the cameras take a dozen photos of him at the shout of his name, and to give his children his attention when they call for it. There was a healthy blush on his face that looks too prominent to be made up. Clark can hear his heart racing, as if chased by shadows. His hold on Jason is tight, and Clark can see Jason pat his hand consolingly. "You're doing great, B," he hears Stephanie whisper, a tremble evident in her voice. Duke, the more recent addition to the family, seems spooked by all the fanfare, but Dick has a firm hold on his back, gentle and kind. Tim is at his side, trying to protect him from all the flashes, even with his shorter and slimmer stature. Clark loves this family, with their care and protectiveness for one another. "Bruce," he calls out with his heart, wanting to steady that heartbeat fluttering like the wings of a hummingbird. He didn't expect his call to be reciprocated, with all of the noise in the world around them. But Bruce stills, as does his heart. Bruce then looks at him with wide eyes gentle, yet pierced, like burying your face in a soft yet cold bed of snow. He feels like those peasants in tales of olden times, kneeling at the throne of a benevolent king, who's staring at you as you feel your whole world shift on its axis. "Clark," he mouths, with curving blossom pink lips. And Clark's body shivers. Bruce is pulled away by a disgruntled Damien with a "t" as the little boy glares at him. The Waynes, and Wayne adjacents, are professional, making it look like Bruce and the rest of them are simply posing for a glamorous shot instead of him stopping on the red carpet just for him. They disappear behind the large Gothic doors of the mayor's mansion. The rest of the reporters are already rushing inside, desperate for the scoop of the Gotham's royalty. But Clark is slightly swaying where he stands, staring at the door, then turning to the spot where their eyes met and sparks had fizzled in Clark's vision. "Wow, you've got it bad," Lois remarks, with a sassy hand on her waist and a devilish grin. She tugs him until he stumbles, and follows her into the entrance, like a lost puppy. "We better get in, farm boy. I didn't go through a messy divorce just for you to not chase after your man." "Lois!" Clark shrieks, as Lois Lane pulls at his arm, laughing that rare gremlin laugh of hers, as they hurry inside, dragging him around, just as she always did. His best friend, pulling him where he should be. The good thing about having an army full of siblings, and pseudo-siblings, is that with enough teamwork and threats, every task could be done in the nick of time. In addition to designing Bruce's outfit, Stephanie had taken the liberty of also drawing out designs for the rest of her insane family, because she had a theme, damn it. If she hadn't stepped her foot down on this, the rest of the family would have shown up in clothing ranging from mafia boss and cowboy aesthetics to goth. Just the designing part had almost made her want to pull her hair out, because some people's tastes cannot be trusted. No, Dick, the discoing was not the peak of fashion, and she had to fight tooth and nail to reject some of the suggestions. "Damien, I promised Bruce I wouldn't add anything to let you carry more weapons." But God, did that hard work pay off. Stephanie had let actual designers, Selena and all her acquaintances, handle her and the rest of the family's outfit, because she would still like to keep her brain cells at the end of the day, for this, her baby, her masterpiece. The few hours before their late arrival are havoc. Alfred is beside himself, trying to wrangle all the boys down so he could comb all of their curls into submission. All the girls are already prim and proper, courtesy of the help from the Gotham sirens, whom they called on this day of the most important task, dressing and styling Bruce. Stephanie paces the floor, staring intently at Alfred's prized carpets. And Cassandra watches nearby. Stephanie wishes that Barbara was here, but she had to go first, being an esteemed guest alongside Commissioner Gordon, and not part of the actual Wayne family, which Stephanie says is bullshit. Sweet Cassie is by her side when she starts itching to run her fingers through her intricately braided hair, lovingly done by Bruce himself. Cassandra locks their hands together, and Steph lets her swing them, before pulling her in for a surprise twirl that excites a giggle out of her. Don't ruin it. Dad worked hard. Stephanie sighs, holding both of Cass's hands tightly. Fuck, you're right. I don't want to make him more stressed. Cass looks at her intently. And sadder, Steph adds. The blonde has been hoping that the sirens would manage to corral Bruce enough during the bonding session in his room to lower his stress levels enough, since Duke has the bright idea of playing a prank on his trigger-happy brothers, covering their suits with intensified glow-in-the-dark liquid, just to fuck with them. And it devolves into a full-blown wrestle that somehow got Cass and Stephanie involved, and wasted a good hour or two. Alfred is occupied with ironing their clothes to perfection, so the chaos was left unchecked for a while. Their fighting had only stopped when Bruce walked in from the cave, and Alfred by his side. Alfred actually clicks his tongue, and they all scurry to stand in line with their heads bowed. Thomas started it, Father, Pennyworth. Damien, as always, is the first to defend himself. You ruined my street cred, you maniacs! Do you know how hard it is to be menacing in the daylight? Duke yells, flailing his arms around in anger. It devolves into a screaming match from there, and Alfred utters a single word. Enough. They stop. It's the angriest tone they've heard from Alfred. Cassandra steps forward, arms open for a hug. Dad? They all turn to look at him, and Bruce's eyes are blown wide, eyes darting across the room. His jaw is clenched shut, and his entire posture is tense. They don't need to be an empath like Cass to note that Bruce is overwhelmed. He has been on edge since the gala was announced. Bruce nods, robotically, and lets Cass wrap him in her arms. His hands are twitching as he reciprocates the hug, burying his face in his daughter's hair. Enough of this tomfoolery. You will return to your rooms and get dressed for the gala. I expect all of you to be here in this living room on time. Yes, Alfred, they mutter sullenly from behind the shadows. Someone snorts with glee. They see the sirens enter the room, amusement clear on their faces, but their expressions soften as they greet Bruce. Selena taps Bruce on the shoulders, greeting him with a fond smile, as he pulls away from Cass. Hey, baby, she croons. Ready to get ready for the gala? Bruce shakes his head mutely. Harley cackles and envelops her arms around Bruce's back in a half hug, pushing him forward towards the stairs. Come on, Brucey. We'll be nice, won't we, Pam? Pamela huffs. It'll be like girls' night. It's been hours since then. The boys and Alfred have already joined them in the waiting game. Stephanie didn't even get to see Bruce's reaction to the outfit, since Alfred had taken it for the ironing first. Her stomach feels like it's doing Dick's entire acrobat routine, and if it weren't for Damien and Cass holding her hand, she could have pulled her hair out. They hear a shout from upstairs, and they all perk up. Harley rushes to the top of the stairs, already dressed in a hot pink layered dress. The prince is done. Stephanie's jaw drops. She knew Bruce Wayne was beautiful. Everyone in Gotham knew, of course. It was in their wiki. But even so, this was beyond her expectations. While Harley skipped down the stairs, both Pamela and Selena had their arms around him, carefully guiding him down the stairs. Bruce's eyes are a bit red on the corners. He must have cried at least a little bit. But even so, that glittery eyeshadow is doing him wonders. By Gotham, the women are geniuses. He stands in front of them solemnly, like a convicted man walking to the gallows. Mildly, Stephanie is amused. Bruce, although he tried to hide it, was a total drama queen. Though, then again, he was raised by Alfred, whose love for theater knows no bounds. Speaking of Alfred, she can hear his measured steps as he makes his way towards his charge, see his son. The rest of her family is vibrating with energy, just desperate to yell their positive opinions of Bruce, and to make him smile that rare, wobbly smile that is usually accompanied by a deadly blush. As Alfred steps closer, Bruce grows more alarmed, taking a step back before the sirens hold him in place. Stephanie can't see Alfred's expression, but she can guess it is tight, judging by the tremble visible in his glove-covered fists. To her shock, and the rest, since she heard Jason swear under his breath, Alfred pulls his glove from his hands, revealing old, scarred, and wrinkled fingers. She would never associate the word frail with Alfred, but his hands had seen better days. No wonder he keeps them hidden. The family butler, their grandfather in all ways that mattered, raises his trembling hands, gently cradling Bruce's face, as if holding a delicate flower. "Oh, love," he mutters. "Look at me, please." Bruce's eyes dart to him, eyes glassy and bright under the lights of their chandelier. "You look so wonderful, my dear. So handsome, so beautiful." And by Gotham, Stephanie could feel her eyes watering from the sheer warmth dripping from Alfred's voice. From the corner of her eye, she could see Dick sniffing as Damien hands him a handkerchief, with a distinct "t." She watches as Alfred pulls Bruce closer, until their foreheads rest against each other. She had never seen Bruce look so young and vulnerable. "Your parents would be so proud to see you right now," Alfred continues. Bruce blinks away the wetness in his eyes, slowly enveloping Alfred in a hug. Even after... They would not care. They love you so. Alfred pats his son's back, before releasing him, smiling as Bruce shifts in his place, trying to ward off feelings. "I must go meet with the driver. I expect all of you will be at the front door in 10 minutes sharp." Alfred gives a pointed look to her and the rest of the family. "There had better be no changes in your appearance, young sirs, ma'ams." They all give the actual head of the family a mock salute, breathing in relief when Alfred walks away. The sirens join him as he leaves, agreeing to meet them when the gala finally starts. Instantly, the boys begin surrounding Bruce, who looks immensely delighted to see his baby boys decked out in formal attire. "My princes," he sighs, with a sentimental smile, taking the time to caress their cheeks before giving them a soft kiss on the cheek. "Chum." Bruce beckons to Dick. Dick crushes Bruce into a hug. "You look wonderful, Bruce." Dick smiles as he leans into the kiss. Jason looks the other direction when Bruce stands on his tiptoes to lay a gentle peck on his scarred cheek. "You're getting sentimental in your old age, Pops." Bruce hums. "Then you should stop getting so big." Tim has a wobbly smile on his face when Bruce kisses his cheek. Bernard and Connor better keep their hands to themselves tonight. Tim's goofy expression fades, shooting Bruce a death glare as he squawks. "Like you're one to talk! Everyone would want to sweep you off your feet." Bruce lets out a low chuckle. "I'm just worried. You look so handsome." Tim huffs, pleased, kicking Damien lightly when he scoffs. Bruce nuzzles Damien after the kiss, smiling as his youngest growls. "And you, my little royal, look so lovely." Damien puffs out his chest, and he brags, making Bruce feel all gooey inside. "Of course, I do take after you." Duke pushes his little brother away after he gets his turn, earning him a scowl and a muttered, "You'll pay for this," from Damien. Duke, the secret menace, only shoots him a smug grin. Bruce shakes his head at this, cradling Duke's head in both hands. "Is this okay?" he asks, always unsure of where he stands with his children, especially Duke, who still has his own parents. "B, if you don't kiss my cheek while I'm just like the Duke of the East or something, my mom will actually kill you when she gets better." Duke laughs. "It sounds a little wet." Bruce hums, kissing Duke's cheek and treading his fingers lightly across Duke's braided hair. His long hair suits him well. She might kill me for letting you beat up people at sunrise, though. Duke snorts at that, letting Bruce pull him in for a hug. You and me both, Bruce. They pull away from the hug, and Jason then corners Duke, making grabby hands at him. Let big bro Jason give you a kiss. Duke screams, emitting a flash of light from his body, blinding him, causing Jason to also bellow out a shrill scream. It devolves into mild chaos from there, but Bruce lets them be. At least there were no traces of tears in Duke's eyes anymore. Tim put his hand on Bruce's shoulder, gazed focus on the slight manic undertone. If anyone gives you a hard time, you'll tell me and the others, right? Even if you don't, I'll find out. I'll make them regret it. Cass pats Tim's back. No supervillain mode. She kisses Bruce on the cheek, and Bruce returns the favor. He looks at Cass fondly and turns to Stephanie with the same soft expression. My princesses, he says, resting an arm around Cass's shoulders and reaching out to Steph. Stephanie hesitates, feeling out of place, but soon joins Bruce in the hug, seeing the imploring look of the rest of the family. Do you like the dress? Steph asks, afraid and uncertain. Bruce tucks her hair behind her ears. He grunts. That's his contented grunt, she recalls Dick saying to her once. She pokes him in the chest, annoyed. Bruce, I'm gonna need more than that, big guy. Bruce's eyes flicker with alarm. Surprisingly, he then adds, Can I give you a kiss on the cheek? There's a beat of silence as Stephanie processes this, with wide eyes. Bruce's eyes are furrowed. Nervous, stunned, she nods, with something bright beginning to burn in her chest, swirling and pulling in her sternum as she feels Bruce's soft lips touch her cheek. Her eyes burn, and something rages inside her, screaming, Wrong, wrong, this is wrong, I'm not actually yours. Bruce lets out a trembling breath. I don't deserve you. Any of you. He starts. But you, Stephanie, I heard a lot. You're just a girl that got caught up in my grieving. And Stephanie remembers being Robin, feeling like she was at the top of the world when she beat crooks up, and Batman rewarded her with a post-patrol ice cream. But she also remembers feeling less than a dirty stain on the sidewalk when Batman glared at her in disdain as she ignored his orders once more. Cass has told me that you sometimes think you are not part of the family. Stephanie shoots Cass a glare, and Cass responds by sticking her tongue out at her. But I want you to know that I think of you as mine. Steph crosses her arms, reluctantly happy and touched because Bruce bothered to say it out loud. Unfortunately, she knows, despite her trying to deny it. Yeah, you're not subtle, Bea. Bruce nods, relieved. You don't have to. But you spend months planning and designing this outfit for me. You made me feel special, like I was beautiful. And do you? Do you feel beautiful? Stephanie presses. She thinks of greasy old men and shallow women leering at Bruce, eyes trailing without a single concern across his body, with horrible, lascivious expressions. She remembers learning from a somber Tim that this has happened to Bruce even since he was young, that even though the prince has mostly locked himself inside an ivory tower, there had been a countdown for him, of people wanting to prey upon his body. She remembers thinking, how could anyone feel beautiful with that kind of attention? Bruce's eyes crinkle with glee. I think I do, he confesses, shyly. Stephanie whoops, feeling her heart burst as she pulls the big lug into a hug. Dick wallops and drags the rest of them into the bat hug, probably wrinkling all of their clothes. Hopefully, Alfred wouldn't mind. After much chaos of entangling themselves, they all rush towards the door, to a pleased Alfred, all the while laughing and pushing each other, as if they were all little children. And as they got to the car, with an exasperated Alfred, Stephanie feels Tim slip his hand into hers. Squeezing, he says earnestly, Thank you. He looks happy. Tim is staring at Bruce with wonder. It's not for the first time. Stephanie wonders what it's like to be 12 and trying your best to pull a man who is supposed to be a symbol of strength and desperate hope from willingly drowning himself in his grief, all on your own. Dick leans over Cass and pats her shoulder. You did good. She looks at Bruce, who is being fussed over by Damien and Jason. Both are demanding that he give them the names of who tries to ruin his night later on, while Bruce tries, and most definitely fails, to placate them. He's weak for his children, after all. He seems lighter, and his first snowfall-colored eyes twinkle with mirth. Bruce looks like he's looking forward to going to the gala. He fiddles with his jewels and runs his fingers across the patterns. Steph had meticulously stitched onto the fabric. He lets his fingers serenely caress the pearl earrings attached to his ears. A pained but beautiful look on his face. Awfully bittersweet. But yes, he did look quite happy. As happy as someone who parades as a bat at night could be. Yeah, I did that. Steph leans back against the sinfully comfortable leather seats of the limousine, letting herself bask in the sounds of the family. I did good. There's chapter 1 of Riddy. Can I find my name on this? Wait. I can! Yo! That's sick. Okay. What's wrong with the word twink? That's not hard. Diana is massive. Wonder Woman, it could crush you so easily, which is so hot.